What's up, everybody? So today we'll be back working on the Subaru. Last video you guys saw, we ended up getting it back on the road and running. We gave it an oil change, fixed up the brakes and all that, but today I went ahead, stripped down a good portion of it, removed bumpers, trim, all that kind of stuff, because we're gonna be taking the Plastidip off. This Plastidip has been on the car for at least 3.5, 4 years at this point. It's very old, brittle, sun faded, and it's just not looking good anymore. So we're gonna go ahead and remove all that, see what it looks like underneath, and see if we can take it off fairly easily. So far, I've started taking off some of it, and it's not coming off very well. So I've got something I'm gonna show you guys to try to remove it, maybe a little bit easier, but let's go ahead and take you guys outside to the car, show you what it looks like, and then go from there. So you guys can see the car, it's all pretty much stripped down at this point. The bumpers and stuff are removable. I just have them put back on the car, just sitting there. And as you can see, the dip doesn't peel off very well at all. On the bumpers, it's a little bit easier than like on the fenders and rest of the car where there's primer. For some reason, it sticks a little bit more to the primer than it does the actual paint. So if you guys don't know, you guys can go back a couple years ago, well, like I said, 3 years ago, 3.5, 4 years ago, and see that when we sprayed this car, it was all primer. We had taken care of some of the rust and stuff, and a lot of that stuff is coming back. And now that we're removing the dip, it's not coming off very easily. So the plan of attack for today is to go ahead and try out some of the Dip Your Car dip dissolver, which I picked up, and this is it right here. We just picked up one bottle. Hopefully this is enough. 32 fluid ounces. Like I said, I got this off at Dip Your Car. And from what I've seen, this works pretty well. I've used in the past like WD-40, Goo Gone, stuff like that. And that stuff does work, but it's not the easiest. It's very time consuming, a lot of scrubbing and stuff. So I want to try this stuff out, see how it works. And hopefully this will take off all the dip off the car. And we're utilizing a pressure washer, which I have this little guy here. This is just like a Harbor Freight special, like you can see there, 1750 psi. I'm not sure how great this is going to be, but we'll try this alongside with that dip dissolver and see if we can remove the dip off the Subaru. So let's go ahead, hook this up, and see how it does. Sweet. Okay, pressure washer's hooked up. Now we'll go ahead, come in here, check out our dip dissolver. My setup for this hose kind of sucks because it's inside the garage, which isn't the best for convenience, but we're gonna make it work. So here is a dip dissolver, like I had mentioned before. Like we said, I got this off of Dip Your Car. There's all the instructions for it. Looks like we gotta spray a couple coatings of this, work on one panel at a time. So I'll spray the fender first just to show you guys and test this out myself. So I'll spray the fender with this, just get it wet, let it set for, it says like 2 to 3 minutes. Wait for a minute, or let it set for 2 to 3 minutes, spray it again with this, and then another 2 to 3 minutes, and then we can spray this. And it looks like on here it says it needs like an 1800 psi pressure washer. So the one that, like I said, I have is 1750. So hopefully that works. We'll try it out, see if it does. If not, I may have to get a different compressor or a different pressure washer. So let's see how this does. We'll spray this on and see if it starts melting the dip off. All right, so we'll start off here on the driver's side fender. All right, this stuff sprays out pretty decent. It's heavy. That stuff smells so good. It honestly smells a lot like Goo Gone. Has a little bit of that orange citrus smell to it. So we'll let this set down for 2 to 3 minutes, come back, and they say once you get it down, you should be able to run your fingernail across it and it should lift a little bit. So we'll test that out and come back here in just a second. You can kind of see like it's almost like running right there. It's cool looking. Okay. We'll let this set, I'll come back, do another coat, and then we'll start pressure washing. So that was 2 minutes there for the first coat. You can already see it starting to lift, which is pretty cool. We'll go ahead, spray it again now for the second coat, let it set for another 2 minutes, and we should start being able to wash it off and see what happens. I don't know if I'm applying this too heavy or not, but we'll see what happens. So 3 minutes later, oh, that's so cool. You can run your fingernail through it, it comes right off. So the pressure washer should take this thing right off. So let's go ahead and set this up and start blasting. we'll let that, I'll dry that off here in a second, and then we'll go ahead and hit it with another coat of this, because it says it may take more than one soaking of the dip dissolver. But you guys can see that it's pretty good. My pressure washer definitely could use something a little bit more powerful than just this electric Harbor Freight one with 1750 psi. I know like on the bottle here it recommends 1800. But yeah, if we had a gas powered one, could step it up a bit, it'd be a little bit better. I'm gonna go ahead, try to clean off this fender the rest of the way, and then I'll probably go ahead and do the whole car off camera. But this is just a good example to show you guys. Now when I've used like Goo Gone and WD-40 and stuff like that, it never does this kind of job. It just kind of sits there and you slowly pick at it back and forth, and it's not nearly as aggressive as this is. So far this stuff is good. Just recommend getting a better pressure washer. So I'll go and keep working at this and then bring you guys back once I got the fender clean, and then do the rest of the car. So you guys can see there, that's 2 sprays of the dip dissolver, and then using that 1750 pressure washer. I think I'm gonna go try to find a gas powered one that has a higher PSI rating. Maybe I can borrow it from somebody and try to knock out the rest of the car, because doing this is such a small pattern, trying to get it to blast off, like you can see there how small it is. It's gonna be very time consuming. So maybe I'll see if I can find a different pressure washer to use, but otherwise this stuff works awesome. And it's coming off pretty easily, better than sitting there trying to pick at it and take my time at that and just peeling off in little sections. So yeah, we'll see if we can get a different pressure washer, come back, try this again, and then remove the rest of the dip off of the car. Quick update for you guys, I just went and got this 2400 PSI pressure washer. It should be a lot better than the other one. I think it'll be better at peeling off the dip with the dip dissolver, so we went ahead, got this. Gonna go ahead, try it out on this passenger side fender to see how it compares as far as timeliness compared to the driver's side. So we'll go ahead, hook this thing up, get this thing started, and start working on this fender. Well, we're out of dip dissolver for now. I ended up getting the hood and both fenders done, but yeah, we're definitely gonna need some more. So a week and a half later, and we got a gallon of dip dissolver. Now last time, I ended up just purchasing one of these, the 32 fluid ounce spray bottles, and that wasn't enough. That was only enough to do the fenders and hood and part of the front bumper. So since that ran out, we ended up going with a whole gallon here. So hopefully this is enough to finish up the car. I guess let's go ahead and find out and get this thing done.
One eternity later.
So finally, after a good couple weeks, we got the Subaru all done. That took way longer than what I anticipated, but having the dip dissolver, I think, was a huge help. Doing this by hand was not, when it was not working at all. It was coming off in a few little sections here, like small sections, not in big sheets. And in my case, I think there was a few variables that came into play as to why it wasn't coming off easily. One, the car's primered, and I don't know if the primer has more of a tooth or a grip that holds it on, or the dip absorbs into it. I'm not sure if that's is a big factor. Two, the dip itself is 3.5, 4 years old, so at this point it is pretty old. And three, I would say just like the care and maintenance of it. I don't think my brother really did anything with the car as far as cleaning it or doing anything with it. It pretty much just sat outside in the sun, got to wash every once in a while. There was no like care taken into it, I guess. So those are all major factors with the car. But now everything is removed. Like I said, dip dissolver put in some pretty good work as far as getting it off. Using that one bottle was definitely not enough. We were able to do part of the hood, the fenders, and the bumper with that, and then getting the whole gallon, we could finish off the rest of the car. So if you guys are trying to take dip off your car or having an issue where it's not coming off easily, I would definitely recommend the full gallon to do a whole car. It is a little bit on the expensive side, but I think it's definitely worth it. Saves you a lot of time and a lot of hands, because your hands will get very raw trying to pull off the dip. But here is the Subaru now. You guys can see everything is removed. I do need to put it all back together still. We still got to put in the hood scoops, the grill, the lights, the fog lights down below, all the molding, the trim. I think I had to put the rear bumper back on, but I'll do that here at the end of the video. We'll put it all back together and then have it ready. I'll give it a good wash and everything. But here it is. Dip is all removed. It's a little weird seeing it back in the whole primer stage. Few things I found kind of interesting when pulling this off. One, obviously the hood. This car was not in like good shape by any means when we first got it. Had a lot of work done. straightening out the body and everything, primering it and all that. You guys can see the one area we didn't touch here was the front section of the hood. There was like chips and stuff when we had first gotten it all up here. I'm not sure why, but the front section of the hood was fine. I'm not sure if it had been repainted at some point, but you guys can see here the clear coat did come off with the dip and the pressure washer, so that's one thing I noticed here. But the other thing that I find very interesting is right here on the hood. You can see for some reason this area stained from the red dip. I'm not sure why. From what I read online is if you set it out in the sun, it should take that away. It should come out. So we'll see if that helps or not. There's a few other areas that have that underneath these moldings and stuff where it's still kind of stained. You can see up in here inside the door jambs. So you have that area there. You've got the rockers. They're still kind of a pinkish red inside the door there, little pink red. So just a few little areas that I've noticed where it kind of stained. And I guess there was a couple when we had first started taking the dip off the back. I had tried that where I pressure washed it off and let it sit outside for the day, and I could see where it was white around the handle and stuff. That did seem to go away, but I'm kind of curious about that hood because I know I had that sitting outside for a little bit. We'll see. I'll put it back out in the sun, see if that goes away. If it does, if it doesn't, I'll let you guys know in the comments. If it does, I'll even let you know down there. So that's the only area that I think is kind of a questionable thing. But as you can see, Subaru's all done. So glad to have that all knocked out. Like I said, it took a long time. Dip dissolver, huge plus. So hope you guys liked this video. If you guys did, make sure to give a big thumbs up. Don't forget to subscribe. We'll have plenty more stuff coming. I don't know if we'll be doing a whole lot more with the Subaru. We'll see what my brother wants to do with it. We need to get back on the Civic and doing stuff with that. So stay tuned for that, and I will see you guys in the next one.